Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some big developments coming out from Ukraine to share with you. We have reports coming out today that North Korea is planning to send troops to Ukraine to support Russia's war. Now, this is very, very big news coming out. We just reported just about a week ago that Vladimir Putin had visited Pyongyang in North Korea to meet with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. And while they met together, they signed a defense pact with each other. And this military treaty that they signed, it stated in the event that any one of the two sides is put in a state of war by an armed invasion from an individual state or several states, the other side shall provide military and other assistance with all means in its possession without delay. So look at that. Just a week later, now we've got reports that it looks like North Korea is going to be sending some troops to Ukraine. So what we understand here is they're going to be sending these troops in the form of a military engineering unit to support Russian forces on the ground in the Donetsk region. So the Donetsk region is an annexed region of Ukraine on the eastern side that was taken by Russia at the start of this war. And these troops are expected to arrive on the battlefield as soon as next month. So absolutely huge news here, guys. Now North Korea is going to be getting involved in this war. The U.S. is coming out and warning them, don't send your troops over here. Russia's just going to use them as cannon fodder, basically as disposable units to just kind of throw into the meat grinder. So that way their troops can do what they need to do. But regardless, we know that this war for Russia has not been going too well for them. I mean, they've been at this for 2 years now, and they talked about taking over Ukraine in a very short amount of time, but yet here we are 2 years old, going into the third year now, and there's not really much going on with the Russians when it comes to this war. So things are obviously about to get very interesting over here now that we know that North Korea is starting to get involved here. And this shouldn't surprise anybody considering they signed this defense pact with each other. So obviously now we know for sure this is a war. They say it's a special military operation, but clearly this is a war going on over here, and it's continuing to escalate every single day. So I want to talk some more about this with you guys. I've got a report here pulled up for you on the Kiev Post. It says Pyongyang says it will send troops to Ukraine within a month. The June 19th defense pact signed between Russia and North Korea included a promise to provide military assistance to one another within days. Pyongyang said it was sending troops to Ukraine. Okay, so they're sending troops to Ukraine, and they should be there by the end of next month, basically. Okay, the end of July. So it says here, last week, President Vladimir Putin made an official state visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the DPRK, North Korea. His first for almost a quarter of a century. As part of that visit, Putin and Kim Jong-un signed a so-called defense pact in the North Korean capital on June 19th. The military treaty states, in the event that any one of the two sides is put in a state of war by an armed invasion from an individual state or several states, the other side shall provide military and other assistance with all means in its possession without delay. So now we know for sure why Vladimir Putin visited North Korea. Okay, this was obviously a big plan as well, where they were going to draw North Korea over to this conflict also, because I'm sure this will be huge. Okay, not only are they getting like artillery shells and ammunition from North Korea, now they've got the help with their troops. Kind of like, if anything, what they're doing here, they're kind of balancing this war out, like as if North Korea is kind of like Russia's NATO in a way, okay? Just like Ukraine's got NATO backing them in the background, they even have some military troops on the ground working in the background as well. Well, now Russia's starting to do the same thing, okay? So they're doing everything basically in response to what the West is doing. So even when the West is giving weaponry to Ukraine, well, now we've got Russian President Vladimir Putin warning that he'll start giving long-range weapons to North Korea, and North Korea could start going after U.S. targets or maybe U.S. allies, okay, that are in that region next to North Korea. So in response to that, Pyongyang announced early this week that it will be sending troops in the form of a military engineering unit to support Russian forces on the ground in the Donetsk region. The troops are expected to arrive on the battlefield as soon as next month. The DPRK has already supplied almost 2 million rounds of artillery ammunition, rockets for Russian multiple launch rocket systems, and it is alleged ballistic missile to support Putin's forces since the two leaders met in Russia in September. The active participation of North Korean combat troops raises the specters of escalation to the conflict, especially as commentators think it will not go well for Pyongyang sappers on the battlefield. Pentagon spokesperson Patrick Ryder said during a briefing on June 25th that the North Korean troops were effectively being sent to their slaughter and questioned the wisdom of the deployment. He said, "I think that if I were North Korean military personnel management, I would be questioning my choices on sending my forces to be cannon fodder in an illegal war against Ukraine. We've seen the kinds of casualties the Russian forces have been taking." He added that the U.S. was monitoring what appeared to be ever-deepening military ties between the two countries. Ilya Ponomarev, if I'm saying that right, a former Russian member of parliament, told the UK's Daily Express that North Korea has become an important bridge between the Kremlin and China. Beijing can indirectly transfer military equipment to Moscow through Pyongyang without falling foul of Western sanctions. So this is a big deal too. This is another reason why Russia's working with North Korea, is because they can evade a lot of these Western sanctions by going through North Korea. So let's say if China wanted to do business with North Korea, they could sell stuff over to them, and then North Korea could sell these weapons or whatever they're building there over to Russia. In return, continue fueling this war, and this would essentially allow China to stay involved as far as I understand. As he explained, North Korea is one of key Russian partners, and the meaning of the rationale behind them becoming such a partner is because they are acting as a bridge between China and Russia. Essentially, all the military equipment that is delivered from North Korea was developed for the North Koreans by the Chinese. China is cautious not to fall foul of secondary sanctions by the U.S., but North Korea is not in danger. So we've been seeing a lot of that. China is trying to stay out of this. I'm sure they don't want sanctions on their country for trying to do business with Russia, because there was also major sanctions that were just placed on Russia recently from the U.S. Treasury as well. They were coming out and stating also that if any countries get involved with the banks that are doing business with Russia, they could essentially be sanctioned, and China could be a big part of this because they're obviously supplying a lot of equipment for this war. Okay, they supply it to Russia, and then Russia uses it to build their bombs or whatever they might want to build for this war in Ukraine. So there's no problem for the Chinese to assist North Koreans, and then North Koreans to make trade with Russia and benefit from this both financially and in terms of military development. Michael Carpenter, a member of the U.S. National Security Council, commented, the day after Putin and Kim signed their defense treaty, that the coalition that Putin was building between Russia, North Korea, Iran, and Syria stood in the stark contrast to the group of 50 nations standing beside Ukraine in the Ramstein Defense Contact Group, and the approximately 100 countries that supported the UN Charter principles in the Global Peace Summit held in Switzerland on June 15th and 16th. So absolutely huge news here, guys. So just to recap here, we've got news that North Korea is planning to send troops to Ukraine, okay, and they're going to be heading over here in the form of a military engineering unit, okay, at least for right now. Who knows what they'll become more in the future. At some point, maybe Pyongyang will decide to start sending more troops to actually start fighting here in this region, considering that, again, they signed this defense pact, and it states here that they will send military or any other assistance with all means in its possession without delay. So that's very, very big news. So obviously North Korea is going to keep supplying ammunition to Russia. Now they're starting to supply troops. So this thing is just continuing to get bigger and bigger and bigger over here, and it looks like this war could be dragged on for a very, very long time. And obviously what this signals to me is that Russia is going all in here, okay? If they're willing to drag other countries into this, they obviously want to win this fight. And I think that's been the goal here from the very beginning, was to take over Ukraine. Obviously, that was the whole plan from the very beginning. It just didn't go that way. But if they start getting a lot of troops from other countries like North Korea, it could definitely help them out. So at some point, what are we going to see? Are we going to see NATO start to get on the ground and start to back Ukraine here very soon? This could happen too, because there's been a lot of countries talking about this. France has been one of those countries, even like Lithuania, some of the Baltic states, they've been talking about that as well, about sending military advisors over to Ukraine. I think France was planning on doing that like a month ago, and I haven't heard whether they've done that or not. If anybody finds that information, share that down below. But as far as I know, they haven't sent any. So we'll have to see how this plays out, though. But it's getting very crazy over here. So share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions down in the comment section. that's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.